Okay guys, so we're going to take some notes on this foldable on the different representations of additive and multiplicative relationships. So you should have this foldable by now. So what we're going to do is just fold it in half. So facing this way, just fold it in half. We're making a little book. Okay, so this is all review because we've been talking about additive and multiplicative relationships. Now we're just kind of going to learn about the different representations. We're going to learn how to write an equation, how to make a table, how to make a graph, looking at verbal situations. So we're just going to put it all together now. So let's review. Remember, additive relationship is y equals x plus a. It does not go through the origin. Now the coordinates for the origin are 0, 0. And you can find the values by adding or subtracting. Okay, so if we were to draw an example, just a quick sketch of an additive relationship is that we know that it doesn't go through the origin. So it could start anywhere here, but not the origin. So let's say it can start here, and then it's just a straight line. Multiplicative relationship means to multiply. So that equation looks like y equals a times x. This one does go through the origin, which is 0, 0. And we can find the values by either multiplying or dividing. And again, if we sketch this graph, it starts at the origin, and it's a straight line. Okay, so we're talking about two variables here. We're talking about x and y. So again, let's review. Your independent variable determines the value of a dependent variable. It's represented on the x-axis. So remember, independent, x. The dependent variable changes in response to the independent variable. And it's represented on the y-axis. So remember, dependent, y. So just to summarize or make it in simpler terms, the dependent variable, which is y, is changed by the independent variable, which is x. So the y depends on what happens to the x. So if I add 4 to x, it's going to change my y. If I multiply x by 2, it's going to change my y. So whatever I do to x is going to affect my y. Okay, so like I said, two variable relationships can be represented as tables, equations, and graphs. So we're going to put it all together now. So I'm going to do a couple examples with you, and then you're going to try some on your own. So we're going to start with a verbal description. And this is something we did already together. We did a quizzes where I gave you a description, and you had to tell me if it's additive or multiplicative. So let's take a look at this one. Mrs. Sanchez adds 5 points to everyone's test grade. So here on my table, I'm going to create a table to represent this situation. So my x is going to be my test grade. And my y is going to be my, actually, let's change this to before and after, right? Before the 5 points and after the 5 points. So let's start with 0. If you get a 0 on the test, and Ms. Sanchez is going to add 5 points, what's our grade afterwards? 5. If let's say I get a 50 on the test, well, if they're going to add 5 points, right, we're adding 5, we're going to add 5 points, we'll have a 55. Let's say I get an 80. Well, again, we get 5 extra points. My grade afterwards would be an 85. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding 5. So my equation is going to be additive. So y equals, I'm taking x and adding 5. Alright, now let's graph it. So here we're going to put before and after. So we're going to start with 0. And then let's just number by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Over here we'll go by tens as well. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Alright, so let's go ahead and find these coordinates in our graph. So my first one is 0, 5. So my x is 0 and my y is 5. So that's going to be right here between the 0 and the 10. My next one is 50 and 55. So I'm going to go to 50 on the x and then 55 on the y, which is right in the middle of 50 and 60. My other one is 80 and 85. So x is 80, y is 85. And now I'm just going to connect the dots. So if we look at this graph, we can see if we know our before grade, we can find our after grade. So let's say I got a 20. Well, my grade after will be 25. If I get a 70, I just go to the line, my after grade would be 75. So what type of relationship is this? It's additive. Let's look at the next one. Carly earns $7.25 for every hour she babysits. So my x is going to be my hours. My y is what she earns. So let's say she works for 0 hours. How much will she earn? $0. Let's say she works 4 hours. How will we find how much she earns? Well, it says $7.25 every hour. So what I'm going to have to do is multiply by $7.25. So I'm going to do it right here on the side. 7.25 times 4 is 28, 9, 10, 28, 29. 2 decimal points. So she earns $29. If she works 6 hours, same thing. I got to multiply by $7.25. Let's do it right here. 7.25 times 6, 30, 12, 13, 14, 15, 42, 43. 2 decimal places, 1, 2. So she earns $43.50. So as you can tell, we're multiplying. So what are we doing to x? We're multiplying it by 7.25. So we write it as 7.25x because this means multiply. So now let's graph it. Let's go ahead and put hours and dollars. So go ahead and number the hours starting at 0 by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's do the dollars by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So now all we're going to do is graph the points we have on our table. So our first one is 0, 0, which is right here. Next one is 4.29. So it would be 4 hours, and then 29, which would be really close to 30. And then 6 hours is $43.50. So that's somewhere between 40 and 50. And then just draw your line. Okay, so you're going to try these next two on your own. I'm going to give you some help right here on this one, on the X. I want you to look for 0, 4, and 12. For this one, I want you to look for 0, 48, and 50. And then these are the scales you're going to use. So on the Y, you're going by tens. On the X, you're going by 1. Over here, you're skipping one line, then putting 15, skipping 30, skip 45, skip 60, skip 75, skip 15, skip 30, and so forth. So pause it here, copy this down, and then fill in the rest. After you've filled in everything, continue playing this video so that you can check your answers with mine. Alright, so this is what you should have gotten. The one about the zoo, your X is the number of tickets, your Y is the amount of money. So for 0 tickets is $0, for 4 tickets is $48, for 12 tickets it's $144. So our equation is, to get Y, we have to multiply X by 12. Okay, and then we plot our points. 0, 0 is right here. 4, 48, here's 4, 48 is about right there. We can't graph 12 because our X stops at 10. So then I just connected the two. And this is a multiplicative relationship. The one about Abigail being taller. Well, your X is your friend, this is her friend, and Y is Abigail. So if her friend is 0 inches, Abigail is 4 inches. If her friend is 48 inches, Abigail's 52 inches. If her friend's 50, Abigail's 54. So the equation is, to get our Y, we have to add 4 to X. And then we're going to graph. So 0, 4 is about right there. 48, 52. Here's 45, so 48 is about right here. 52 is somewhere here. And then 50, 54 is really close to that right here, which is close to 60. And then you just connect your 3 dots. And this relationship was additive. Okay, so now all you're going to do is glue this in your notebook. So here where it says put glue on this side, put glue here, and then glue in your notebook. Alright, so you're going to do some activities with this. Use this as reference. And if you have any questions, let your teacher know.